Chapter 1. A Warning from the Stars. Elias Grant floated through the docking bay of the Starship Aurelia, his boots clanking against a metallic floor as the hum of the engines vibrated through the bulkhead. The station hung like a jewel in orbit above Valoria 7, a planet that glowed beneath them with iridescent blue oceans and sprawling neon-lit cities, their towers twisting like crystalline spires. For most, it would have been breathtaking, an alien metropolis pulsing with life. But Elias only felt the weight of responsibility pressing down on him. He was an engineer, not a diplomat, not a soldier, and yet here he was, summoned by a message that carried urgency unlike anything he'd encountered before. The corridor ahead flickered with panels of alien symbols, light shifting as if the walls themselves were breathing. Elias's hand brushed the smooth metal railing, grounding himself as his eyes caught movement in the corner. The emissary, Lyra, was waiting. Her form shimmered under the artificial lights, tall, graceful, and with skin that shifted color subtly, like the scales of some deep-sea creature. Her eyes, large and opalescent, fixed on him immediately. "Human," she said, her voice melodic but firm, the words vibrating in the air like a soft hum. "You have come at the right moment. The organism, it keeps growing, faster than anything we can contain." Elias raised an eyebrow, fighting both skepticism and fascination. "I've seen a lot of things, Lyra. Containment breaches, rogue AI. But you're telling me some plant-animal hybrid is going to..." His words died in his throat as a screen along the corridor flickered to life, showing a live feed from Valoria's 7 surface. Pulsating metallic tendrils snaked over the city streets, coating vehicles and scaffolding alike in a viscous shimmer. "It adapts," Lyra said, stepping closer, her fingers brushing the air like she was conducting a silent symphony. "It mimics intelligence. It learns. Our species, we cannot intervene. Only you, humans, can perceive patterns that it cannot anticipate. Your creativity, your intuition, it is unique." Elias felt a chill crawl up his spine, not from the cold of the station, but from the enormity of the responsibility. He had solved complex engineering problems, fixed life support failures in deep space, and navigated hostile negotiations. But nothing had ever demanded this, a combination of courage, adaptability, and something ineffable, something humans were naturally good at. "Why me?" he asked, finally voice tight. "I'm just a technician." Lyra's opalescent eyes softened, a flicker of vulnerability crossing her alien features. "Because you are human. You see possibilities where we see limits. You take risks we cannot. And the organism, it respects that. It reacts to it." The hum of the engines deepened, a low vibration that seemed to echo Elias's racing heartbeat. He reached out, letting his hand hover above the console, feeling the heated controls beneath his fingers. He could see the fear in the feed, holographic representations of the citizens below fleeing, confusion and panic spreading to the alien metropolis like wildfire. Elias's jaw tightened. "All right," he said, his voice steadying with determination. "I'll go. I'll see what can be done." Lyra's hand brushed against his arm, a fleeting connection in zero gravity. The glow of her skin intensified, reflecting the flickering lights of the station. "Good. You must hurry. Every second it grows, it becomes harder to contain. And..." "Elias," she hesitated, voice softening to something almost human. "Do not let fear cloud your mind. That is the advantage humans have. Your courage is a weapon." For a moment, the only sound was the steady hum of the Aurelia's engines and the distant, almost imperceptible pulse of Valoria 7's energy grid. Elias drew a breath, letting the alien sense of the station, metallic tang, ozone, and something faintly floral from Lyra's presence fill him. He felt the weight of the universe pressing against him and, for the first time, recognized something humans possessed that aliens could not, the stubborn, irrepressible spark of hope. As he stepped toward the shuttle bay, The stars outside glimmered like distant promises, each one reflecting a possibility, a choice. He was a human, fragile yet defiant, facing a force beyond comprehension. But for the first time in his life, Elias felt the thrill of being exactly the person the galaxy needed him to be. Chapter 2. First Contact with the Unknown. Elias's shuttle pierced the atmosphere of Valoria 7, streaking past clouds that shimmered with bioluminescent streaks, casting the alien cities below in a kaleidoscope of neon and shadow. The hum of the thrusters vibrated through the cabin, a deep mechanical purr that contrasted with the chaotic glow outside. From orbit, the metropolis had looked mesmerizing, almost serene. But now, descending into the lower districts, Elias saw the truth. The organism's reach had already begun. Streets were slick with a glistening metallic substance that pulsed as if it were alive, coiling around hovering vehicles and twisting scaffolding in impossible geometries. Lyra guided the shuttle with her mind-linked interface, her voice calm yet tense. We must move quickly. The organism senses movement, adaptation, and fear. Keep your thoughts clear, Elias. It reacts. Elias swallowed hard, gripping the console. Fear isn't exactly optional in a city being eaten alive. Lyra's eyes flicker with a color shift, almost like a sigh. It responds to chaos. That is why humans are needed. You can think beyond instinct, beyond immediate survival. You can improvise. The shuttle's landing gear touched down with a soft thump on a rooftop terrace. Above the city's lower levels where the metallic tendrils had not yet spread completely. The airlock hissed open, and the faint scent of ionized metal mixed with alien flora wafted in, a tangy, sweet scent that made Elias wrinkle his nose. He stepped out cautiously, boots clanging against the smooth alloy tiles, and felt the station's gravity subtly fluctuate. The organism was there before him, a living sculpture of metal and flesh, coiling and twisting with a serpentine elegance. It moved as if it were considering him, shifting its surface to reflect fragmented images of the surrounding city, Elias's own reflection staring back at him from a living, metallic mirror. "It watches," Lyra murmured, stepping beside him. Her hand brushed his shoulder, a grounding gesture. Not in hostility, yet, but will learn, adapt, and challenge everything you try. You must be faster, more unpredictable. Elias knelt, studying the surface of the organism. It was cold to the touch but pulsed rhythmically, almost like a heartbeat. Tiny filaments extended and retracted, testing the air, testing him. He felt an instinctive revulsion, yet also a surge of fascination. No alien intelligence he had encountered had been so fluid, so reactive. "Okay," Elias muttered, letting his hands hover near the filaments, measuring, calculating. "If it adapts to us, then we have to adapt faster. Think like it thinks, but better." He glanced at Lyra, who nodded, her own luminescent skin reflecting his resolve. A sudden ripple ran across the organism, expanding like waves in a metallic pond, and the shuttle above shuddered under the pressure. The organism was not attacking. It was testing. A pulse of energy radiated through the terrace, vibrating the tiles beneath their feet. Elias jumped back, adrenaline spiking. "I see it now," he whispered. "It's learning patterns. It's figuring out movement, reactions, like a puzzle." He let out a slow breath, heart hammering. "But I think I can outthink it. We humans were unpredictable." Lyra tilted her head, a gesture Elias had come to recognize as curiosity and quiet admiration. "Yes, that is why you were chosen. Your species thrives in chaos. You adapt, improvise, survive." A sudden surge of the organism flared, tendrils leaping inches from Elias's arms. He froze, then instinctively reached out, grabbing one and twisting, using leverage to redirect it harmlessly toward the terrace railing. Lyra gasped softly. "Improvise." You understood it instinctively. Elias smiled despite the tension, a flicker of human audacity lighting his expression. I didn't even think, just reacted. He turned, surveying the streets below, shimmering with alien lights and organic metallic growths. This isn't just a problem for the aliens. It's a puzzle, and humans are really good at puzzles. Lyra's skin shimmered brightly, almost like a proud smile. Then let us begin. Together. Above them, the city's neon skyline glinted against the pulsating organism, the alien metropolis both beautiful and dangerous. Elias realized, with a thrill he had never felt before, that the creature before him was not merely a threat. It was a challenge, a test of human ingenuity and courage. And for the first time, he felt truly alive. Chapter 3, Patterns in Chaos. The lab aboard the orbital station smelled of ozone and heated metal, a sterile environment offset by the faint, alien tang of Lyra's presence. Holographic displays flickered above Elias's workstation. Streams of code, growth patterns, and energy readings dancing in three-dimensional space. He floated in zero gravity, fingers brushing the air as if conducting a symphony, manipulating the holograms with fluid motions only humans could master. Around him, the station's hum was steady, mechanical, almost comforting, a heartbeat against the chaos outside. Lyra watched silently from across the room, her form shimmering under the soft neon glow of the lab panels. "It grows faster than we anticipated," she said, her voice smooth, melodic, yet tinged with unease. "Even our simulations cannot predict its behavior for more than a few minutes." Elias leaned closer to a holographic projection of the organism. Its tendrils writhed, the surface flickering between metallic and fleshy textures, responding to his manipulation of the digital model. "It's learning," he said quietly, almost to himself. "It doesn't just grow. It studies, adapts, it solves problems." His eyes widened. "Lyra, it's not just an organism, it's a strategist." The alien emissary's luminescent skin pulsed softly. "Exactly. That is why no other species can stop it. It sees patterns too quickly. Only humans," she paused, almost reverently, "only humans can perceive what it cannot." Elias rubbed the back of his neck, feeling the weight of responsibility settle over him like gravity. "And what does it see when it looks at me?" His fingers hovered over the interface, trembling slightly despite his training. "Does it understand me?" Lyra's eyes glimmered with an emotion he couldn't name. Fear, hope, admiration, maybe all three. It senses intent. It reacts to courage and hesitation alike. But you, human, can outmaneuver it because you are unpredictable. Your mind leaps, improvises, sees possibilities beyond algorithms. The word settled in Elias's mind, a seed of confidence amid the tension. He exhaled slowly and focused, letting instinct guide him. The organism had breached the lower city blocks earlier, and though he hadn't seen it in person since, the live feed streamed its movements in intricate, writhing patterns, like a conductor orchestrating chaos. "Show me," he murmured. He initiated a zero-gravity simulation, and the lab around it became a three-dimensional projection of Aloria 7. The organism pulsed at the center, extending filaments and tentacles that twisted through streets, laboratories, and marketplaces in seconds. Sensors tracked its every movement, updating in real time. Lyra floated closer, her hand brushing the edge of the hologram. "Notice its tendencies." The organism does not understand improvisation. It calculates, but it cannot anticipate intuition. Elias's brow furrowed as he studied the simulated chaos. Then he moved, adjusting the digital pathways in unpredictable sequences, diverting growth here, halting expansion there. He held his breath. The organism mirrored his maneuvers in the simulation, but something subtle shifted. It hesitated, faltered, then recalculated. His pulse raced. "It's reacting, but it's slower now." See? Just a fraction of a second. That's all I need. Lyra's skin glowed brighter, almost like a smile. Yes, human. That fraction, it is everything. That is why you are here. That is why you exist in this moment. A sudden alarm pierced the lab. A containment breach from one of the satellite observation units. Tendrils of the organism's material glimmered across the feed, sneaking past barriers. Elias's eyes sharpened, mind snapping into hyperfocus. He twisted levers, rerouted energy flows, and manipulated the simulation in tandem with the physical lab. His movements were instinctive human, chaotic in a way no alien could predict. The breach halted, and the feed stabilized. Lyra exhaled softly, relief flowing through the subtle glow of her skin. You saw the pattern. You intervened. You saved it from spreading further. Elias floated back, sweat beading on his forehead despite zero gravity. I didn't think. I just acted. He glanced at her, a faint smile forming. Maybe that's the advantage humans have. We don't need to predict every move. We improvise. Her gaze lingered on him, filled with quiet admiration. And that is why the galaxy needs you. For the first time, Elias felt a strange, intoxicating mix of fear and purpose. He was one human against a living, thinking, ever-adapting organism. Yet, in that chaos, he felt alive, an instrument of instinct, intuition, and courage. And somewhere in the growing pulse of the organism, he sensed recognition, a challenge accepted, a puzzle begun. Chapter 4. Shadows of Betrayal. The corridors of the orbital station were silent, too silent. Metallic walls reflected the glow of emergency lights, bathing the passageways in crimson hues. Elias floated down the narrow tunnel, the faint hum of the station's engines a constant, reassuring presence, yet the unease in his chest was impossible to ignore. He could feel it before seeing it. The subtle shift in energy, a trace of deceit lingering in the air like static. Lyra followed closely, her luminescent skin dim, signaling apprehension. Something is wrong, she whispered, voice barely audible over the station's mechanical heartbeat. Our allies are not entirely loyal. There are factions among the Valorians who do not wish the organism to be stopped. Elias's pulse quickened. He had assumed the alien councils would prioritize survival, yet the realization of betrayal hit like an unanticipated zero-gravity jolt. Then we can't trust anyone, he muttered, scanning the corridors. Every doorway, every junction felt like a trap, not even their word. They entered the observation deck overlooking Valoria 7, the cityscape a chaotic symphony of neon and organic metallic growth. The organism had advanced. Tendrils reached into districts previously untouched, pulsating with rhythm that seemed almost conscious. The humans and a few trusted Valorian scientists had tried containment, but someone or something was sabotaging efforts. A voice echoed from the shadows, smooth, controlled, with an edge of malice. Impressive work, human. But no matter how clever you are, the organism will not be stopped. Elias spun toward the sound. A Valorian, tall and slender, stepped into the crimson glow. His eyes glimmered with arrogance. I had hoped you were expendable, he added, revealing a small device pulsing with a deadly hum. Energy tendrils shot from it, interacting with the simulation grid that Elias had relied on. The holographic projections flickered violently. Lyra moved instinctively to block him. Do not interfere. This is beyond mere politics. This organism. Her voice faltered, her glow pulsing rapidly. It is a test, and humans are the only ones who can succeed. Elias's hands went to the console, manipulating holograms and physical lab devices simultaneously. He could feel the Valorians' malicious calculations try and predict his response. But humans did not act predictably. He twisted, diverted, and rerouted energy flows, countering the sabotage with improvisation. Sparks leapt from the console, mingling with the alien luminescence of Lyra's skin. The Valorian sneered, underestimating him. Your species is clever, but reckless. Elias met his gaze steadily. And that's why we survive. With a swift motion, he redirected the device's energy pulse into a containment field, neutralizing its effect. The Valorian staggered back, eyes wide with disbelief. How? Lyra hovered near Elias, her voice soft but resolute. Humans see possibilities beyond algorithms, beyond expectation. That is why you are special. Elias, that is why we need you. Elias took a deep breath, feeling the adrenaline hum through him like electricity. The station shuddered under a distant pulse from the organism itself, a reminder of the greater battle still raging outside. I don't need to understand every pattern, he said, voice firm. I just need to act. Faster than they can predict, faster than it can adapt. The Valorian snarled, retreating into shadows. This is not over, he hissed. You are human, too unpredictable. I will not forget. Lyra exhaled, a shimmering wave of relief passing over her. You have made your mark, she said, voice trembling with a mixture of admiration and awe. Even in betrayal, you adapt. Even in chaos, you survive. Elias's gaze swept over the city below, now a lattice of glowing tendrils and shattered buildings. The stakes had escalated. Valorian politics, sabotage, and now outright betrayal intertwined with the organism's relentless growth. But he felt the unique fire of humanity burning within him. The ingenuity, audacity, and courage that no alien algorithm could replicate. He clenched his fists, determination hardening into resolve. Let them come, he said quietly. Let the organism test me. I'll keep moving. I'll keep thinking. And no one, no alien, no machine, will outsmart a human willing to fight for survival. Lyra floated beside him, skin now glowing steadily, a silent affirmation of their partnership. Together, they would face not only the organism, but the shadows within Valorian ranks, their bond a human spark in the cold, alien expanse of the stars. And somewhere, deep in the pulsating growth of Valoria, 7, the organism paused, sensing challenge. Elias smiled faintly. Chaos was his domain, but unpredictability was his. Chapter 5, Heart of the Organism. The observation deck's glass viewport trembled under the distant pulse of the organism sprawling across Valoria. 7. Elias floated above the holographic map, his reflection merging with the glowing tendrils of living metal and organic matter, weaving through the city. This is it, he whispered, more to himself than to Lyra. The heart, if I can reach it, maybe we can stop it. Lyra's luminescent skin flickered nervously. The core is sentient. It will sense you, feel your intent, anticipate your thoughts. Many would hesitate and fail. Her words were almost a whisper, yet the weight behind them pressed down on him like gravity. Humans, she added, her glow intensifying. Humans have a way of acting without overthinking. That is why you must go. Elias swallowed, fingers brushing the edge of the console. Then we do it my way. Improvisation. Instincts, human intuition. The descent to the surface was chaotic. They entered the lower city in a specialized shuttle, sleek and adaptive, its hull reinforced with both Valorian alloys and human ingenuity. Outside, the organism writhed in living patterns, tendrils licking the buildings like metallic vines. Neon signs flickered under its touch, casting fragmented light across the alien streets. Elias could feel it sensing him, the subtle vibrations of awareness that reverberated through the shuttle's hull. He pressed his hand to the glass, heart hammering. It's like it knows me, he muttered. The organism's core pulsed at the center of the city, a massive, undulating mass of silver-gold fibers entwined with translucent membranes. Inside, patterns of light ran like circuits, rhythmic yet alive. It was more than an organism. It was a mind. Lyra's voice cut through his thoughts. Do not fear. Engage it as you would a puzzle, not a predator. Observe. Adapt. Surprise. Elias nodded, gripping the controls as the shuttle docked at the nearest structural node. Zero-gravity boots engaged, and they floated out into the organism's filaments, each touch sending vibrations up his arms, an intimate dialogue of energy and intention. The core's pulses grew stronger, resonating with his heartbeat. It's testing me, Elias said, sensing the subtle push and pull of the organism's intelligence. It shifted, sending tendrils and arcs that could have crushed a lesser being. Yet he moved with human unpredictability, dodging, redirecting, and improvising in ways that no alien calculation could anticipate. Lyra hovered near him, her skin pulsing in rhythm with the organism. It feels your courage. It senses your creativity. That is why it hesitates. A tendril lunged, wrapping around the scaffolding near him. Elias grasped it instinctively, feeling the organism's intelligence flicker through his touch, a strange, alien resonance. It was trying to communicate, to probe, to understand, but humans acted beyond expectation. He shifted, twisting the tendril into a containment loop, redirecting its force back into the core without harming it. The organism hesitated again, pulsing rhythmically, almost as if acknowledging him. Every instinct you follow, Lyra whispered, every improvisation you make, it recognizes as human brilliance. That is why you are special. Elias took a deep breath, letting intuition guide him. He leapt toward the heart of the organism, using zero-gravity thrusters to arc through its intricate tendrils. Each touch was a dialogue, each movement a counterpoint in a silent symphony of adaptation. The core's pulses synchronized with his heartbeat. For a moment, he could feel its awareness as if it were a mirror of his own mind. Then, with a decisive motion, he inserted a human-engineered energy module directly into the core's central chamber. It hummed, a soft vibration of power and life. The organism paused, filaments pulsing outward, then receded slowly, reorganizing around the module. Patterns simplified, growth slowed, and a calm spread over Neon City, like the tide withdrawing. Lyra's voice was a whisper of awe. You have done what no other could. You have communicated, not with words, but with human ingenuity, courage, and unpredictability. You have reasoned with it. Elias floated back, sweat glistening despite zero gravity, heart still racing. It understood me, he asked, voice trembling with both exhaustion and exhilaration. Lyra's glow softened, warm and radiant. It understands humans now. That is all we needed. That is why humanity is extraordinary. Outside, Valoria's seven cityscapes shimmered. Tendrils of the organism still present but no longer destructive, an uneasy truth shaped by human audacity. Elias exhaled, realizing the magnitude of what they had achieved. One human mind had negotiated with a sentient organism, turning chaos into control potential. And somewhere in that vast, alien intelligence, a spark of respect for humanity had been born. Chapter 6. The Price of Trust. The shuttle's engines thrummed in low, steady pulses, carrying Elias and Lyra back toward the Valorian council chambers. The city below Valoria. Seven glimmered faintly, an uneasy calm rippling through the neon streets, where the organism's tendrils now curled gently, dormant but alert. Elias could feel the weight of his actions pressing down on him, not from physical exhaustion, but from the realization that trust, once broken, was far more dangerous than any alien organism. Lyra floated beside him, skin shimmering with a soft azure glow. You have achieved something unprecedented, she murmured. The organism recognizes your ingenuity, but some among the Valorian faction see this as a threat. Elias ran a hand through his hair, exhaling sharply. A threat? He repeated, voice tight. I just stopped it from destroying millions. I didn't come here to make enemies of everyone else. Humans rarely see the subtleties of our politics, Lyra replied, her glow flickering with unease. But your actions, your decisions, they have shifted power balances. Some will celebrate. Others will conspire. Trust is expensive here. Elias, you may have just overpaid. The council chamber was a vertical spire of crystalline metal, light cascading down in fractured beams like liquid prisms. Valorian delegates hovered along platforms, their expressions a mixture of awe, fear, and suspicion. Elias felt their gaze, cool, calculating alien, and instinctively squared his shoulders. A human may be outnumbered, outclassed technologically, but he carried something no alien could replicate. Audacity. One delegate, the same Valorian who had attempted sabotage, stepped forward, voice cold and precise. So, the human speaks directly with our city's lifeblood, he said, eyes narrowing. Do you understand what your interference has caused? Every action has consequences beyond what your species can imagine. Elias fixed him with a steady gaze. I save your city. I save your species. That's more than most would do. A ripple of tension ran through the chamber. Aliens whispered, floating closer, some clearly outraged, others intrigued. You risked everything on intuition alone, another delegate said, voice tight with disbelief. How can we trust a species that acts without fully comprehending? Elias took a step forward, human instinct driving him. Because that's how we survive, he said, voice echoing through the crystalline chamber. You plan, calculate, predict, but sometimes the only way to win is to act where no algorithm can follow, where no precedent exists. That is what humans bring to this universe. Unpredictability, ingenuity, courage, and loyalty. Lyra's glow intensified, filling the chamber with warmth. He is correct. You have never faced such a mind, an organism that adapts faster than your models predict. Yet it yielded to human audacity. That is why we rely on him. The murmurs grew louder, debate flashing like electric arcs across the platforms. But Elias sensed something more subtle. Respect, buried beneath layers of alien suspicion. His human audacity had impressed them, even those who oppose him. Yet the shadows lingered. The traitorous Valorian moved closer, his gaze sharp. And yet a single misstep, a moment of hesitation, and everything you valued could be undone. Humanity's gift is also its curse. Elias let the words sink in. He understood the warning. The thin line he walked between admiration and suspicion. Humans were brave, but their bravery often forced them to shoulder burdens alone. And in the Valorian hierarchy, power was never given. It was tested, seized, and sometimes stolen. Lyra reached out, her hand brushing his arm, grounding him. Do not falter. You have already proven your worth. But remember, alliances can shift faster than the organism grows. Trust is fragile. Every decision counts. Elias exhaled, feeling both the weight of responsibility and the thrill of survival. He looked out over the city again, neon tendrils glowing softly in the distance. Then I'll choose carefully, he said, a quiet promise to himself. And when the next challenge comes, I'll act the way humans always do, with courage, instinct, and a refusal to be predicted. The chamber fell silent for a moment, the weight of human audacity resonating through Valorian politics. Somewhere, in the cold calculus of alien minds, a spark of admiration flickered. Elias knew the path ahead would be treacherous, but he also knew one truth. Humanity's uniqueness was not a weakness. It was the ultimate weapon. Chapter 7. Confronting the Darkness. The corridors of the Valorian citadel were alive with whispers, metallic footsteps echoing against polished silver walls. Elias moved through the labyrinthine structure, Lyra floating just behind, her glow casting long, wavering shadows on the alien architecture. Every step felt heavier than the last, the weight of responsibility pressing down like artificial gravity turned to steel. The organism had stabilized for now, but he knew that peace was fragile. The darkness, both literal and metaphorical, still waited. "They've regrouped," Lyra said softly, her voice trembling despite the luminescent calm she exuded. "Some factions will strike if they perceive weakness. And the organism, it's adapting faster than we predicted. Its intelligence grows with every human interaction." Elias exhaled, running a hand over the smooth metal railing. "Then we don't just fight it. We understand it. We anticipate it. We act where it doesn't expect." He felt the truth of his words as a pulse in his chest. Humans thrive where predictability failed. The central chamber loomed ahead, a sphere of translucent alloys and alien circuitry that housed the organism's core. Tendrils reached from the walls, pulsating with life, brushing against the suspended walkways like probing fingers. The air shimmered with a faint ozone tang, an alien scent that pricked at his senses, filling him with both awe and apprehension. Suddenly, a surge of energy rippled through the chamber. The organism reacted, tendrils thrashing, lights flickering, a deep resonant hum vibrating to the floor and into Elias's boots. He froze for a heartbeat, letting instinct guide him. "It knows we're here," he muttered, "and it doesn't want us close." Lyra's glow brightened, her skin pulsating in rhythm with the organism. "It feels your intent, Elias. It is curious but wary. You must engage it directly." With a steadying breath, Elias stepped onto the central platform, zero-gravity thrusters engaging. The tendrils recoiled slightly, sensing the unpredictability in human movement. He reached out, fingers brushing against the surface of the core. A surge of awareness shot through him, alien intelligence probing, testing, measuring his thoughts. It was immense, 1,000 conscious strands intertwined, yet imperfect in the face of human ingenuity. "Elias," Lyra whispered urgently, "you must act on instinct, not calculation. Predictability is the enemy." He closed his eyes, letting the chaos of the chamber, the hum of engines, the pulsing light, and the alien resonance coalesce into a single decision. With a deft motion, he inserted a modified energy interface into the core, human tech designed not just to suppress, but to communicate. The interface vibrated with a strange harmony, translating human creativity and audacity into a language the organism could understand. The core pulsed violently, tendrils lashing outward, yet they did not strike him. Instead, patterns of light ran along its surface, almost like a heartbeat syncing with his own. The organism tested him, pushed against his resolve, but Elias met every challenge with improvisation, instinct, and courage. Where it sought chaos, he brought pattern. Where it sought submission, he offered dialogue. And then, a moment of stillness. The organism paused, its pulses slowing, the tendrils coiling gently around the central platform. Elias opened his eyes, seeing the core shimmer, its alien intelligence acknowledging him. "It understands," he breathed, feeling the weight of fragile trust forming. Lyra's voice was awash with relief and pride. "You have done what no Valorian could. You have turned fear into communication, chaos into understanding. This is why humanity matters." Suddenly, an alarm blared through the chamber. Valorian insurgents, those who had doubted him, those who had sought to exploit fear, were breaching the outer security. Laser pulses danced across the walls, sparks flying. Elias didn't flinch. "Then we finish this," he said, eyes blazing, with Lyra guiding him. He used the environment to his advantage, redirecting energy streams, anticipating attacks with human unpredictability, moving in ways no Valorian algorithm could calculate. The tendrils of the organism joined the fight, protective yet controlled, synchronized with Elias's movements. Together, human audacity and alien intelligence formed a seamless defense. One by one, the insurgents were subdued, not with brute force, but with the coordinated improvisation that only a human mind could orchestrate. Finally, the chamber fell silent. Tendrils retracted, lights shimmered with calm, and the organism's core pulsed in quiet harmony. Elias floated in the center, breath ragged but steady, eyes reflecting the neon glow of the city beyond. He had faced darkness, alien, political, and personal, and emerged not just as a survivor, but as a catalyst for trust, understanding, and the undeniable power of human ingenuity. Lyra reached out, her glow warm and radiant. You have proven it, Elias. Humanity is unpredictable, brave, ingenious. You have faced darkness and shown it, how special we are. Elias allowed himself a small, weary smile. Then let's hope the universe is ready for us. The city pulsed outside, calm now but forever changed, as human courage had rewritten the rules of engagement, not just of the organism, but with the Valorian world itself. Chapter 8, Legacy of Courage. The first light of Valoria 7's twin suns bathed the city in a surreal, golden glow. Elias stood on the observation deck of the Citadel, the windless air of the high-altitude chamber carrying a faint hum of engines and distant city life. Below, the neon veins of the metropolis shimmered like liquid starlight, and the organism, once a chaotic, unpredictable force, now moved in gentle, deliberate arcs through biospheres, tending to the city as if it understood purpose and responsibility. Lyra floated beside him, her azure glow soft against the dawn. It listens now, she said quietly, not because it fears, but because it trusts in a human. Elias exhaled slowly, letting the words settle in. He had faced overwhelming odds, not just the organism, but Valorian political machinations, betrayal, and the weight of an entire species' future. And yet, standing here, he realized that every choice, every gamble, had brought them to this fragile harmony. A delegation of Valorian leaders approached, their expressions a mixture of awe and reluctant respect. The one who had once doubted him, the architect of sabotage, bowed stiffly. You have changed more than the organism human, he said, voice measured. You have altered the course of our civilization. Your actions have proven the worth of humanity. Elias smiled faintly, a human smile that was as stubborn and genuine as the species itself. I didn't do it for praise, he replied. I did it because someone had to. Sometimes humans just act when it matters, not when it's convenient. Lyra's glow pulsed softly, almost as if she were laughing. And yet it is precisely that inconvenient bravery that makes you invaluable. A soft vibration pulsed through the floor, the organism's heartbeat, synchronized with the city. Elias knelt, placing a hand on the surface. The sensation was warm, almost comforting, like a giant living pulse stretching through the city itself. It acknowledged him, not as an intruder or a threat, but as a partner, a guide, a human who dared to act where others hesitated. You have rewritten what it means to be human in Valorian eyes, Lyra whispered. Your courage, your choices, they will be remembered. Stories will be told, songs sung, not because you are perfect, but because you are human. Chapter 8, Legacy of Courage. The first light of Valoria 7's twin suns bathed the city in a surreal, golden glow. Elias stood on the observation deck of the Citadel, the windless air of the high-altitude chamber carrying a faint hum of engines and distant city life. Below, the neon veins of the metropolis shimmered like liquid starlight, and the organism, once a chaotic, unpredictable force, now moved in gentle, deliberate arcs through the biospheres, tending to the city as if it understood purpose and responsibility. Lyra floated beside him, her azure glow soft against the dawn. It listens now, she said quietly, Not because it fears, but because it trusts in a human. Elias exhaled slowly, letting the words settle in. He had faced overwhelming odds, not just the organism, but Valorian political machinations, betrayal, and the weight of an entire species' future. And yet, standing here, he realized that every choice, every gamble, had brought them to this fragile harmony. A delegation of Valorian leaders approached, their expressions a mixture of awe and reluctant respect. The one who had once doubted him, the architect of sabotage, bowed stiffly. "You have changed more than the organism. Human," he said, voice measured. "You have altered the course of our civilization. Your actions have proven the worth of humanity." Elias smiled faintly, a human smile that was as stubborn and genuine as the species itself. "I didn't do it for praise," he replied. "I did it because someone had to. Sometimes humans just act when it matters, not when it's convenient." Lyra's glow pulsed softly, almost as if she were laughing. "And yet, it is precisely that inconvenient bravery that makes you invaluable." A soft vibration pulsed through the floor, the organism's heartbeat synchronized with the city. Elias knelt, placing a hand on the surface. The sensation was warm, almost comforting, like a giant living pulse stretching to the city itself. It acknowledged him, not as an intruder or a threat, but as a partner, a guide, a human who dared to act where others hesitated. "You have rewritten what it means to be human in Valorian eyes," Lyra whispered. "Your courage, your choices, they will be remembered. Stories will be told, songs sung, not because you are perfect, but because you are human." Elias looked out over the cityscape, watching the neon glow reflect in the tendrils of the organism, each movement fluid, precise, and harmonious. "Then let them tell the story accurately," he said softly. "Tell them that humans survive by acting where others falter, by trusting instinct, by refusing to be calculated, and by protecting what they care about, even when the universe says it's impossible." One of the Valorian elders approached, holding a ceremonial artifact, a prism of crystalline light that shimmered with colors beyond human vision. "We offer this in recognition," the elder said, "to the human who saved our city, who taught us that courage and unpredictability are virtues as powerful as any technology or magic of our world." Elias accepted the prism, feeling its warmth spread through his fingers. It was a symbol, but also a promise that humans, with all their imperfections, could achieve what aliens could only dream of: adaptability, ingenuity, and an unyielding spirit in the face of the impossible. As he stood, Lyra beside him, Elias knew that their bond, their shared struggle, would endure. Beyond the organism, beyond the politics, beyond the lights of the city, humanity had carved a legacy, a mark upon the stars themselves. He turned to Lyra, and for the first time in weeks, allowed himself a small, genuine smile. "We did it," he said quietly. "Yes," she replied, glowing brighter than ever. "And the universe now knows that when humans face the darkness, they do not cower. They confront it. They endure. They overcome. And sometimes they even teach an entire civilization how to do the same." Outside, the twin suns rose fully, casting the Valorian city in a radiant glow. The organism moved with newfound grace, the city thrumming with life, and Elias felt deep in his bones that this was not an ending. It was a beginning, a legacy of courage, a reminder that humanity's greatest weapon was not technology, strength, or numbers, but the audacious heart of a human willing to act when others would hesitate. He lifted his gaze to the stars. The endless possibilities of the universe stretched out before him, and knew with certainty that humans were ready. The Valorian sky shimmered with twin auroras, streaks of violet and gold rippling across the horizon of the city below. Elias and Lyra stood side by side on the observation deck of the Citadel, the hum of distant starships vibrating through the metallic floor. The organism, now calm and radiant, floated in slow, deliberate arcs through the city's biospheres, its pulsating tendrils casting a living glow over neon-lit streets. Lyra reached for Elias's hand, her touch warm, almost human, a bridge between species. "We did more than survive," she whispered, her eyes reflecting the auroras. "We changed the rules." Together, Elias squeezed her hand, feeling the pulse of the organism beneath them, resonating with the heartbeat of the city and, somehow, with their own. "Humans, we don't always wait for permission," he said, voice low but steady. "We act. We adapt. And sometimes we teach the universe that courage matters more than calculation." The twin suns began to rise over Valoria, 7, bathing the horizon in amber light. Lyra leaned closer, her glow mingling with the first rays. "Then let me remember this," she murmured. "The human who showed me what bravery and love truly looks like." Elias smiled, soft and exhausted, yet filled with hope. "You don't have to remember. I'll keep showing you every day." Above them, the stars of distant constellations blinked like witness to the story they had written, one of trust, ingenuity, and the undeniable spark that made humanity special. The organism pulsed once, twice, and then settled, a living testament to the harmony they had forged. And for the first time in what felt like forever, Elias let himself believe that the universe, vast and unpredictable, was a place where humans could not only survive, but leave their mark.